Sounds appropriate.
Yes, it does.
Excellent. I appreciate you. Thank you very much, Miss Tasha M. Dyer. Thank you for another wonderful training. I agree with our BYOB community that this is definitely next dimension. And for the benefit of those of you that are providing very adequate complementation to our trade whisper, I have had the benefit of being able to watch how this movement is ascending, to watch how the leadership is ascending. And to be very honest with you, we're mimicking the planet right now. I know that we're going through quite a bit, and I know that healing is the nature of the day, and that there's so many things happening in our world that we're not used to. But I just want you to know that the vibration and the frequency of our earth really is on the incline. And I see it and I feel it with everything that we're doing here. So, with the training, with the conversations, with the mentoring, with the coaching, with you all, the way in which you're absorbing the information, the quality of the questions, how much you all dig in. So, every once in a while, you have to just pause and say thank you. So, I'm giving her a shout out, but I'm also giving all of us a shout out that we are handling this so well, and we're really putting ourselves in a place of strength. Because as I stated to a group of people recently, there are so many changes that are happening right now as a result of the global pandemic. And they were based on necessity. You know, there's an old saying, invention is the mother of necessity. So, yes, we've invented new ways of doing things, but some of the things that we're doing, okay, let's be honest, a lot of the things that we're doing are just more efficient. And as a result of that, we're going to come out of this uh, with some next dimension results. And so I'm looking forward to us continuing to have such a great attitude about what we're dealing with. And that is exactly what you all are doing. I feel it in what Miss Dyer is saying and doing and training, but I also feel it in your responses to her. So, welcome to a talk with the finance doctor, your RX for Forex. For those of you that are new, this call uses the preposition with because we want this to be a conversation, a dialogue. We could have called it a talk from the finance doctor because finding things to say is pretty easy for me. But this is about you recognizing that there are things that you can say and ask that put you in a better position of strength in terms of A, your wealth and abundance and your ability to be able to master this skill set and all the components therein, and B, for you to be able to take this newfound wealth and abundance that you will have and understand how to manage it better. So, as I say every single call, and as I will say every call in the future, personal finance is the only area of our society where the individuals that teach you about the product just happen to be the same individuals that sell you the product. So, with that in mind, we have a wonderful opportunity with this call twice a week for 30 minutes to be able to have a dialogue about things that affect your life. And the beautiful thing about it is, yes, we talk about personal finance. Yes, we talk about trading. Yes, we talk about macroeconomics. But the most important part of this call to me is that we talk about mindset because having the proper mindset is so important. How many of us are extremely aware of the fact that there's been a trend in the United States of America that individuals that win the lottery in 3 to 5 years end up in the same position they were in prior to winning the money? Has nothing to do with the money, has nothing to do with whether or not it's enough. It only has to do with the fact of your mindset. There's a book I read from time to time that says you don't put old wine in new wineskin. So it's so important that we make our wineskin new. And what is being said there is that we create our scenario in our mind. We create our scenario in our perspective. We create a scenario in the way in which we view the world that we're accepting and we're ready for wealth and abundance. Hey, let's be real. BYOB Cash Out is a very powerful strategy with a 92% accuracy rate. And IM Academy education is first rate. The market has so many menu items for us to be able to do what we want to do. But you have to be a vibrational match for this strategy. You have to be a vibrational match for this education. So the mindset conversations that we have, the affirmation conversations that we have, sometimes when Ms. Dyer pauses and just talks about how important it is the way you see the world, it is so vital to us being able to take advantage of this opportunity. You know, every single person that has ever failed at this, every single person that has ever failed at this, they've done one thing and one thing only. There's one word. Why is the people who fail? Let's analyze this. Quality control. What is the reason why people have failed? One reason and one reason only. They stop. That's it. Stop. Stop. That is the only way to stop. When you plug in, when you continue to do what you have to do, when you get your mindset right, when you take advantage of the education, when you make sure that you're a vibrational match to this outcome, it will be. It will be. There's no hesitation. There's no doubt about it. And hear me, the strategy is 92%, but the 8% is human error. So it's really a 100% strategy. We just are being accurate from a statistical perspective by telling you 92. So sometimes if we just get ourselves out of the way, if we just walk in our deservedness, if we just understand that it doesn't matter what our childhood was, doesn't matter what we had or didn't have, what matters is you're here now with an opportunity to move to the next dimension. So this is a talk with the finance doctor. Questions, comments, testimonies from anyone about anything.
Hey, Dr. B. It's Ms. Robinson.
Hi, Ms. Robinson. What can I do for you?
You said that most of us quit. And
I'm sorry, Ms. Robinson. Can you please start over? Ms. Robinson, start over for me. I didn't catch the beginning of what you said.
I said it's true what you just said, that most people quit when you get right to that point. And I've been there, and it's like, all right, I can't get this, I can't grab it. And then, you lose a couple of dollars and you come back like, wait a minute, this is not going to get the best of me. Hold on, let me go back, let me look at the books, let me reevaluate and see what's going on. And now it's been much clearer lately. And like we talked about the other night, I got it. And I just said, you know what, you're going to pick one trade for the day until you grow it. And that's what I did. I've been working on oil, and that's been my friend for the last week.
Did you say it's
yes, oil, U.S. oil.
Love it. Let everything be done decent and in order. That is such a wonderful testimony. So, Ms. Robinson, if I may please ask you, you just expressed a very powerful testimony in terms of you making a shift and you seeing it in the results. Can you share with our talk with the finance doctor audience, what do you think was the actual action that you took that changed the game for you?
Listening more and being coachable and just paying attention to the trend of the market. Because when I tried to do it on my own and think that I knew better than everybody else, I wasn't getting anywhere. So I had to actually get out of my own head and just trust the process and go for it.
So that get out of your own head is such a powerful part of this. And one of the reasons why I talk about this so much is because oftentimes when you're in your head, you think you're the only one that's experiencing it. When in reality, we're all experiencing it because that is the way the human mind works. I've mentioned multiple times, and I'm going to ask you another question, Ms. Robinson. I've mentioned multiple times that the brain likes status quo. We come from a history of humanhood. We come from a history of humanhood where the way in which the brain is, was the only way we could survive. The more predictable a situation is, the more common it is, the more patterns we have that are the same, it kept us from roaming into an area with other tribes. It kept us from roaming into an area with wild animals. So the predictability of doing the same thing every day, the same way, is the way we're wired. So we also are wired with a very strong spirit and a very strong soul. And that spirit and that soul longs for more. It wants better. It knows it has this deep inkling that I can have more. So once you make the decision to become a part of the Be Your Own Bank community, you now have two forces that are going against each other. Didn't you just see Miss Dyer show you that there were some buys and then there were some sells and then it was buy, sell, and it was a consolidation because the buyers and sellers are actually going against each other? That is the same thing that our brain and our soul does. Our soul wants more. Our soul knows that we're here for a greater purpose. Our soul knows that we deserve wealth and abundance. It is our birthright. But your brain is wired to keep you safe. Your brain is wired for you to stay the same. Your brain is wired for status quo. So it will come up with reasons to do things that will keep you where you are. Let me give you one. Let me give you one that I know you will associate with. Now think about this. Think about the confidence in which I said this. I probably had meaningful dialogue with 3 of you, maybe 5. But the other ones, I know that what I'm about to say is an experience that you have had. You're on a roll. You have been exposed to something that you know can put you in a better position. It doesn't have to be the BYOB cash out strategy, because I want you to go back in your past and think about how many times this happened. Maybe you have a big interview coming up. Maybe you're studying for an exam. Maybe there's some type of preparation you want to do that's going to make you better. And the moment you start rolling, the moment you start getting into it, the moment you start having some momentum, suddenly, oh, you know what? I really should clean out my closet. Oh, you know what? I really should straighten that out. You know, I've been wanting to clean out those gutters, but this is a good time to do it. I'll get back to this as soon as I do it. Come on. Can one person, just one person, put in the chat that, yes, I have experienced that. Yes, I've been in that situation where I'm at a position of breakthrough, and suddenly every piece of housework that I haven't done in weeks is so important. That is the brain. Thank y'all for being honest. That is the brain. That is the brain doing what it's programmed to do. I ain't mad at you, brain. Tupac, I ain't mad at you. The brain is just doing what it's supposed to do. But when you understand that, when you have an awareness of it, when you put it yourself in a position where you can respond to it, then you know I have to do like Miss Robinson said. I have to be in order. I have to walk in order. Let me do what I have to do first. So before I go deeper into this, let me go back to Miss Robinson. So Miss Robinson, you said something very interesting. You said, I became coachable. And then you gave some specific things that you did in terms of structure. So I want you to help us, because I've told you this from the beginning, Ms. Robinson. You are definitely the Jesus Christ of this movement, because you constantly sacrifice your personal situation so that we can be better, so that we can have a better experience. So I'd like for you to answer this question. Give us an example of how you, not why, we already explained why, but give me an example of how you were being uncoachable, and then how, when you decided coachable, it led to a different experience. Be as specific as possible, because this question and answer is being Holy Spirit led right now. Please, Ms. Robinson.
I was uncoachable because I wasn't listening. I was overthinking. And me being just a boss and an entrepreneur doing things my way, felt that I can do it. All right, I got the concept and I can do it my way. So I had to step back when I wasn't getting the results that I needed my way. I had to step back. I had spoke with Mr. Rogers. Me and Miss Dyer had, conversations through Telegram, and I just had to listen and listen to everybody in the group through our dialogue, and just, okay, you need to now refocus, because your way is not getting it. You're losing, you're not making the money, you're losing money. So something you're doing is wrong. So take a pause, take a break, and go back to the academy, go back to the beginning and look at the basics and restart. So that's what I did.
So one of the things that I remember, a chat conversation that you had a few months ago, maybe 6 to 8 months ago. I remember that Ms. Dyer was talking about the strategy, and she was mentioning the three things. And I remember you responded by saying, but what about this? And what about that? So you added a fourth or fifth thing, and she responded with but it's just these three. And then you kind of added another, a sixth and seventh thing. And she was like, it's just about that three. So when you, and again, that's the way we operate. The only difference between you and the other rectangles is that you were saying it out loud and they were doing it at home. And I'm saying they, but I'm really saying we, because all of us have gone through this experience. So when you were overthinking, you were putting yourself in a position where you were adding things to the three strategies. And once you went back, you simplified it and then just decided, I'm going to do exactly what this strategy says. Am I correct in that assessment?
Absolutely.
Good, good. I have plenty to say about this, but I want to pause and see if anybody else has a follow-up question or follow-up testimony based on this conversation we're having, this very good conversation. Questions, comments, testimonies?
Yes, sir, Mr. Dr. Brightwood.
Yes.
This is Donna Goodwin out of Peachtree Corners, Georgia, and I just want to say that Ms. Robinson always hits it on the nail. Always. She's always saying something that I think, like you said, everyone is thinking or feeling. And yes, I have to get out of my own way too, because, I feel like, this movement was methodically, it was thought out, it was prayed about, it was prayed over. And when you feel like you're in the right place at the right time with all of that connected to it, then you can't go wrong. There's no way you can go wrong. Right. So only thing we can do is go up. Only thing we can do is go in the right direction. And that is the direction that Ms. Dyer has taken us. But, there's so many people that are just stuck in their ways and stuck in their own minds. It hinders them, and it's hindering me. So, I'm just going to continue to stay focused, like Ms. Robinson said, stay plugged in, and, just do what I got to do. And I'm going to do one train, Ms. Robinson, one pair.
Wait, Ms.
Thank you.
Ms. Goodwin, can you please repeat that last sentence again?
I said I'm just going to stay plugged in and do what I got to do.
Excellent, excellent. That's I really appreciate that, and you're correct. Ms. Robinson absolutely represents what we're all thinking. Just bold enough to say it, bold enough to go there. And there are times when she asks a question or makes a comment, and I literally feel the energy of everybody else feeling the exact same thing. So thank you again, Ms. Robinson, and thank you, Ms. Goodwin, for reinforcing that for us, that this is just not me talking, that this is the reality of the way in which this collective consciousness works. And for the benefit of those of you who are new, collective consciousness is a concept which means that energy is aligned. You're literally going to show up because your energy is a match to the other people. You could be somewhere else, but you're here. You could be on another Zoom, but you're on this one. And so what happens is that the collective consciousness, as you bring energies together, they begin to interweave with each other. And this always happens. The only difference between this and other experiences is that I'm calling it out. And so when you say something, it most times represents something that somebody else feels. And a lot of times, this is the beauty of collective consciousness. A lot of times the person that's listening doesn't even realize that they felt that way. They don't even realize that they were thinking that. But then when you say it, it triggers something in them. You know, the same way that vibrato triggers. There's so many 1 hour and 4 hour triggers today. Well, same thing. You trigger someone and they get that vibration that, hey, I associate with that. I resonate with that. I feel the same thing. So these types of conversations are just so important. So questions, comments, testimonies about anything about us having the proper mindset to be able to take advantage of this wonderful strategy. Questions, comments, testimonies.
I have a comment or testimony. This is Tracy
Please,
Baxter.
I don't hear what you're saying, whoever that is.
Can you hear me, Dr. Bythwood?
I heard the last part. So whatever you did at the latter part of your sentence, do that. What can I do for you?
Okay. I was saying I have a
Hey,
testimony.
Tracy, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, Dr. Bythwood. How are you?
I'm excellent.
That's good. I was going to say, yes, I'm going to be transparent like Miss Robinson. And I'm having so much more success now that I'm doing what I was supposed to be doing, like Miss Anderson has taught me to do. Well, and Miss Dyer, everybody about doing your journaling. I was failing to journal before. Now that I'm consistently journaling, I'm having so much more success.
Excellent. Excellent. So there's an African proverb that says, nothing is learned through success. And I remember with all of the Super Bowl coverage, someone said this. They were like, sometimes when you win all of your games, then you're in a position where there's nothing to analyze. The things that you may have addressed, the things that you may have shifted, there are adjustments that you may have made. Excuse me, but you don't have to do it because the feeling of winning puts you in a position where it doesn't matter, we won. All we want is the victory. But when you lose, then you think about the things that you could do better so that you'll win the next time. So oftentimes we don't realize that in order for us to master this, we really do make mistakes by design. Let me say that again. Many of us don't realize that we oftentimes make mistakes by design, because the mistakes are what put us in a position of being able to make the adjustments so that we would know what to do. Recently, I had a conversation with someone who said this. They said, we have to be very deliberate about our decisions. Agree? Because every decision we make either has a reward or a consequence. And then I responded by saying, what if all of them were rewards? What if everything was a reward? The only reason why I said it is because their shoulders got really tight when they said consequence. So I said, what if they're all rewards? What if we only get two things? What if we either get the results that we're interested in, or we get a lesson that'll get us closer to our results? Let me say it again. The person said, every decision we make is either a reward or a consequence. And I said, what if there are rewards? Either there's the result you want, or there's an opportunity to grow so you can get to where you want. So let's charterize this. Let's Forex exchangearize this. Let's BYOB-arize this. Let's BYOB cash-arize. I just love mucking up words. So in the conversation that we had today in our market talks, in the conversation we had in our tools training, we talked about higher highs and we talked about higher lows and we talked about lower highs and lower lows. The conversation started with Ms. Dyer saying, let's look at the difference between a correction and a change of trend. And she stated that, look at that, that's a correction. Now think about this for a second. She talked about the fact that often people will think when there's a spike, when there's a pullback, that means that there's going to be a huge move. And she said, we want to be clear on what it is. We want to be able to understand the market and understand the charts to the point where we know whether it's a pullback or a change in trend. But just think about the beauty of this for a second, because how you do one thing is how you do all things. And it's interesting that we as humans, we operate in a way where we operate like everything else. If you look at the animal kingdom, similarities. You look at the earth, similarities. So of the many examples I can give you, I'll just give you one. Our bodies are 75% water. That is the biological composition of our body. The earth is 75% ocean. Ocean, lakes, streams, it's 75% water. So you think that's a coincidence that we are of the earth and we're 75% water and the earth is 75% water? Of course not. So the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because the markets, just like everything else, are a reflection of us. So oftentimes, in order for there to be a big move, in order for there to be a big move in the market, guess what has to happen? There has to be a pullback first. There's a pullback, and then the market makes the move. So think about it. Isn't that what we're saying? Yeah, I was doing this and I was doing that, and then I got that. But that's okay, because oftentimes when we go through that, we beat ourselves up and we attack ourselves and we say, oh, that you had to go through that. What if we recognize tonight we're supposed to go through that? That's the design. We're going through the pullback so that we can get to the next level. This is an old school analogy I've used before, but I feel the need to use it right now for people who may not have heard it. 1997, I was blessed with the opportunity to be a consultant for the Hewlett-Packard Company in Northern California, outside of San Francisco, a little town called Mountain View, right next to Stanford University. So guess what I did? I shipped my car from Tallahassee, Florida to San Francisco on an auto train. So my car happened to be a stick shift. Y'all remember stick shifts? Come on, y'all aren't that old. That's why I said 97. So I'm driving a stick shift in these hilly hills of San Francisco. And one of the things that I had to do in order to master this new environment, I just said something, master a new environment. How many times do I say it? This is not hard, it's just different. So I'm in this car, and because it's hilly, I would have to put it in first gear and be very deliberate. And every time I put it in first gear, it will rock back. And then the rock back will give me the momentum I needed to go forward. But this is the part that I noticed that I found extremely interesting. And that is this. The more hilly it was, the steeper the incline, the higher the elevation, the higher the ascension, the more I had to rock back in order to go up. So could it be, BYOB community, that all of these great testimonies about I was doing this and now I'm doing that are by design? Would we not be a little easier on ourselves if we recognize that we didn't do anything wrong? We just went through the process. That market is wrong because it pulled back. No, that's how it works. It pulls back because of that interaction between buyers and sellers, and then the trend begins to reveal itself. That's what's happening with you. You pulled back so that you could learn some lessons. You pulled back so you can master the skill. You pulled back so that you can ascend. And that's why some of you are pulling back so much, because the incline that we have access to is huge. This is the situation that allows us to be able to change the abundance dynamic of our children, of our children's children. Think about it. Once you learn the skill set of mastering the market, your children will know it. And their children. It's not a skill that's going to leave. It's going to always be in your family. So this is big. I was at a basketball game not too long ago watching some girls that I coached in travel ball. And there's one senior on the team. So it was a tightly contested game, and it was a playoff game, and it was tied with like a minute left. So the coach called a timeout, and the senior girl was doing like this. I was sitting right next to her father. The girl's name is Z. So the father said, "That's right, Z. They're counting on you. That's right, Z. They're counting on you." So the father knew she was in a reflective, meditative state, getting her mind together because they were counting on her. That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we are in the BYOB community. They're counting on us. You're the one in your family that's a rectangle represented here. You're the one in your family that was wise enough to say yes to this. What about all those family members that said no? They're not you. They're counting on you. So we got to be reflective. We got to be meditative because this is an opportunity for us to change the dynamic of our lives. This has been a talk with the finance doctor. One more time. Question, comments, or testimonies?
Hey, Dr. B, my granddaughter sitting watching with me, and she noticed the picture behind you on your shoulder. She said, "That's Jesus pulling the man out the water."
Goosebumps. Goosebumps. That's what we all are, Ms. Robinson. We are all Jesus pulling the next man out of the water. That is why this is the largest economic empowerment movement of all time. We are literally Jesus pulling our brothers out of the water. And you know, the name of that painting is "Am I My Brother's Keeper?" Yes. Questions? Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Questions, comments, testimonies? Questions, comments, testimonies? Thank you all for your wonderful contributions. I oftentimes come with an agenda and then the Holy Spirit moves, and that is exactly what happened tonight. So I really appreciate everyone for participating and for absorbing this information. So, Ms. Dyer, Mr. Rogers.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a talk with the finance doctor. But let me tell you something. This is also the year of transformation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to challenge everyone on this call. I'm going to challenge everyone that is in that pullback. I'm going to challenge everyone that's in that correction to get rid of your stinking thinking. I'm going to challenge each and every last one of you all, because we can personally add roadblocks to our success. This is the year of transformation, and the destination is quite simple. The destination is right there. The destination is where you want to go, but you have to make that transitional shift in your mindset, because it's not about it's not about the market. It's not about the foreign exchange market. This is literally what we're talking about is literally the way forward. Because if you are having hesitation and reservation and adding to and pulling back here, that means it's happening in your personal life. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I challenge you all, because 2020 brought us correction. So I challenge each and every last one of you all to make that shift, to make that personal shift, to make that mental shift, so you can excel and exceed in excellence. Because every single thing we do is in excellence. Every single thing we do is in excellence. And so we want to operate in excellence. We want to be excellent. We want to think excellent. And speaking of excellence, I want you all to stay tuned, because we have something special for you. We always are thinking about you. We always are thinking about the way forward, and we're always thinking about the way ahead. So we're going to be able to represent BYOB, Be Your Own Bank, the movement, and everything that we do. Our shirts, hats, just different things that are coming, paraphernalia, things that you're looking for, things that you want, is coming to you. And so when we say that, we're doing it for you. We're talking about representing, We're talking about you operating excellence. We're talking about you always, 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 because BYOB stands for excellence. And we want you to operate in excellence in your personal life, in your trade account, in every single thing that you do. So own it, walk in it, and be it. And that's what's going to move you forward. Do not dwell on where you were, where you've been. So eliminate that and let's move forward. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to turn this call back over to Dr. B.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Dyer. What an appropriate ending to this conversation. Beautiful words. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this week. We thank you for this movement. We thank you for each and every rectangle that is represented here. And I ask that you please allow them to spend this weekend increasing their skill set, improving their mindset, and making themselves a vibrational match for this movement. We are thankful. We are appreciative and we are grateful. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. And this will officially end this call.
Amen. Good night.